So hello everyone, today we have an episode about the remote start. Many of you have asked me about the installation, how to do it, especially talking about manual car type, so, or some of you call it the stick. It's gonna be a big topic. It might be like for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know, but I will try to list all the information I can from my side. Of course, the installation, I have done it like a couple of years ago. I know the details of it, but I won't be able to do the installation all over again, unfortunately for you guys. But what I can do is view the information to you and the technical details, either with some pictures or some videos, as much as I can, so you can use this to help doing the installation if you're planning to do this yourself. Of course, you need to know basics electronic stuff, like for the wiring, how to jump a wire, how to connect wires. Some wires you need to just take through, some wires you need to cut. You need to find the voltage source. So these are some basics. You might need to know it yourself, but let's see. So we're starting from the point 0. We have the OEM style. Hey, come on. So this is of course not for my Mustang. Either it can work, it's working, it's still connected, but actually this is for my other car. Some remote systems, I might be sharing now some pictures here somewhere in the image. Some remote systems can be through the original remote, so you don't need to have additional remote, you can use the original one, and you won't be needing to do much wiring work. Some of these systems just have a cable through, so it's a plug and plug. So you plug the remote systems to the car original plug, and then from there to the car back again. So it's a cable through. You don't need to tap wire. You don't need to cut or to do any of this stuff. So this kind of remote systems are very easy to install, even if you want to use the original path systems for the key, and then there isn't much work need to be done. This is like for the original. And then if you are coming to the aftermarket remote systems, then you have two different kinds of categories, I would say. The one which is like only remote to start, and coming like a second part of that, which is remote start and two-way communication. This is like the one I'm using. As already I told many of you, the brand which is Magic Car, this is Korean brand which was originally made in Korea, but an American company bought the brand and now it's CompuStar. So CompuStar, you can find it as a US brand. They have made some improvement and some adding features, which is really nice. So some of the work I had to do myself was already being managed by these guys. And then coming to the third categories, which is at the time when I did mine, I hoped to have it, but it wasn't possible. Even by the company, when I contacted them, they said easy, that this system is complex, and if you have any issues, we will not be able to support you, so we will not ship this product overseas to you. That was many years ago, and now everything have changed. So yeah, everyone now is doing, all the stuff is online, so you can imagine my days. I'm not that old, but yeah, you can imagine that situation. So that system is actually mobile based, so you can install the complete system. You need to put a SIM card inside it, and then download an applications on your mobile, and from that application you can open the car, start the car, do all the functions you need to do from your mobile, from your cell phone. And it's really amazing, because if you are in completely different country, You will be able to track the car, you will be able to control the car, you can do everything. Now, the two-way communication system remote, which I have, it has a limit almost 1 mile. So 1 kilometer to 1.6 kilometers. It depends on the area, it depends on, you are in between lots of buildings, so the limit will be much more. Of course, that system will require you to install additional antenna in the car. So mine is on the glass, and you need to be sure that this antenna is not restricted with the tinting system. So if you have like here, for example, I have, but this is not RF restricting. So you need to be sure. Even this information is listed on the installation manual of the remote system. So you need to be sure that if you have, then you need to cut that area on the glass, then you put the antenna system. One thing more, yeah, that's actually related to the PAD system, which is the key security. You can bypass that if you want, but if you want to use it, for sure you will need to have 2 keys, because this is a Ford standard, if you want to say, or the way of configuring the PAD system. So you need to have 2 keys, and then you can configure the module of the security. The thing is, when you remote start the car will need to have the security bypassed of the key. And then there is a special module, the remote system of the which you buy, nevertheless of the kind, will not have this feature unless there is something in the market I don't know about, I'm not sure. But if you don't have this function in the remote system, then you need to have an additional module. This module will communicate between the car to give it the order, and between also the remote system. So the remote system will say, hey, I want to start the car, and then the PAD systems will give the access to the car, and then when it's approved, it will tell the remote system back again, yes, you are good to go, and then the car will start. Some of the guys, they say, yeah, that's why your remote system takes so much time to start. Of course, that's like 2-3 seconds. Of course, because there is this communications going back and forth. Some guys, they just say, I don't want the whole function, so I'm removing the security, which is easy to be done. Of course, there should be some programming there. In my area where I live, there is a car key guy who programmed the second key for me, and then I did everything. And also that guy, he can disable the system. Of course, me myself, I have an access systems. It's easy, long discussion. I can just tell you, use the ForScan, search for the ForScan. It's a software, free license for the first month. You need the special OBD port. It will be not more than, it can start like $15 up to $25 or whatever the quality you want. If you want more functions, then this is a completely different discussion. But ForScan is a key where you can disable the PAD system, so that's also a function for you. And then the remote start will be way much faster. The communication will not be there. So some guys, they have this, and yeah, they can go through it. So let's see. Start from point number 1. I will try again to put some pictures to help you doing that. So here's the key, and there is this circle here, not of course this one, the one in the back inside the frame. So you need to open this frame. This frame has 2 screws down there, and then you need to remove this frame. This frame is just pop up, just pull it. There is no screws, nothing. Just pull it with your hand, it will come out. And then this frame right here will come up after removing the 2 screws below. You need to open the frame. I have 1 screw here, 2 screws on the other side, and then 1 in the middle. And then you can remove this cover. This cover and this cover are attached to some kind of hooks together. So once you remove the lower one, you can remove the upper one, removing the steering wheel up and down, and then you can have access to the ring I'm telling you about. So Some of the bypass systems work by additional ring. So what you need to do is you put the ring over the ring, and then it will generate the magnetic field which is coming from the key to the car. It will simulate it. Some others will tap in a wire, and that wire communicate directly to the car security system or computer. So there is two kind of these systems. Of course, one good thing is when you buy this system, they will give you a manual. If you have to tap in somewhere, it will tell you if you have this brand of car, this generation of car, then you need to have the wire color like this and that. So I will try to share this information again, maybe through this video or some pictures. But this is part one. Part two is gonna be completely on the other side. Of course, it's gonna be right here. So when you turn the key, there is actually a fob here moving together with the key, and that part communicating that the key in, and the key is giving in the on position and the accessories position, and then the starting position. So that one has a plug. There will be picture for it. That plug has different wire. So as I told you, some systems they have plug-in plug system. So you just plug that one from the car to the plug from the alarm system or from the key start system, and then it will have another plug. You plug it in the car. So it's very clean, very easy, very nice. And then from that plug, all the wires are ready going to the remote start system. And then the remote start system will have additional wires again between the security code, security system, computer, and the starting system. So what else do we have? Yeah, you might need to do the 12 volt. So that's one thing. If you don't have the plug-in plug system, then what you need to do is you need to find the cable. There will be cable sensing the key. So let's, now the car is starting, the engine is running, so I just switch it off so you can guess what am I talking about. So you can see, let's zoom out, so you can see this is off and now it's on. I didn't switch on the key, nothing, it's just I put it in, and this is called a key sense, and that's alarm from the car telling you that the key is still in. So that's the first cable, and then the second cable you would need to find. So there is a click telling that the key is being switched on the first position, and now this is the auxiliary position, and then this is the old habit. Now it's starting. So the plug here will have cable for the sense, cable for the accessory, and then cable for the engine starting. So you will need to find out these different cables. Some remote systems, they have also the function for the AC. Of course, mine AC is completely manual. I could done it with the additional relay, but I didn't want the headache. What I do is actually, if I leave the car in the sun or something, I just keep the AC on. Of course, there is no risk on the compressor because the modern cars, they have the function to delay the compressor. This is something standard. You don't need to ask me about it. Just basically keep it on, open the hood, and start the car, and keep looking to the clutch of the AC compressor. You will see that it doesn't start with the car. After a few seconds from the engine running, it will kick in, and then it will start compressing the gas. So don't have the discussion here about this is good, this is bad. It's been running fine since many years, all is good, I don't have issues with it. So it's your call. If you like it, don't like it, don't do it. And then we coming to additional points, which is coming now functions inside the car you need or you don't need. For example, the car would like to know if the handbrake is on or not. The car would like to know the positioning of the clutch if you have a manual car. If you don't have a manual one, then there is inside the module of the car remote system, there is a jumper or a switch to indicate this is a manual or auto. I will talk about this one later on. This is additional functions on the Remotestart. If you're buying the basic one, which is running with the original remote, you might not find all these details. But if you are buying more advanced system, and these more advanced system, they have more functions, and then these more functions will do more communication. For example, I have a function to tell the car that the hood is open. So if my car has any doors open, it will not lock in automatically. I can show you now. Let's switch off. Now if I stay, as long as I stay in the car, it doesn't do anything because I didn't open the door. But once I open the door, you can hear now that it will be clicking on the module system. So now I open the door, so the module system know now I'm leaving the car. Once I closed, the remote system will think, okay, hey, you are out of the car, but still you didn't lock the key. You hear this? Even the car is giving me a honk. So connecting the honk is also additional. So this is additional wiring you need to do. All this you can do it on the smart junction box right there. It will give you all the communication to the door, to the honk, to the lights, all of them. And you can see now the car is locked by itself, and it's giving me the indication. Of course, I was holding it. I didn't click it myself. If I will click it, you will hear this additional function. I did not click it myself. So this is a function from the remote system. It's not from the car. And then also I connected to the hood. So if the hood is popped up, because for example we have been in a workshop, I don't want the car to lock in by itself because the doors are closed. So what I do is I give the car, the remote system, hey, I'm still here, so don't don't lock the car. Let's open. I'm giving in the information I'm in the car. Now these additional functions are very nice because, for example, I have more securities in my car. I won't be talking about the details because I don't want to give an access to anyone to steal my car. But this is related to the remote system you will install. I have a function in my car. If I start the engine, of course, the steering wheel will be locked without the key. But let's say this guy is clever. He know how to find a way to unlock the steering wheel. The remote system I have, it has securities. I made the connections for it. But let's say this guy, he figured a way to put the key and to manage the steering wheel again, but he didn't do a sequence I do. Then the remote system will say, hey, yeah, you are not the owner and I'm shutting the car. And this is one thing nice. If this is done, this guy will not be able to bypass because he need to find out what I did and how I figured it out. He need to find the way for it and then to bypass it. So he might be smart to know how to bypass my car security, but he doesn't know what kind of my security is there. He doesn't know to start it. Related to that, coming to the manual steering. So based on the system you buy, if it supports a manual, the manual will need a sequence. For example, the system I have, it needs a sequence to tell, of course, this sequence you need to do it while the car is running. So before shutting off the car, I need to do a sequence. For example, lift the handbrake twice, and then the remote system get the indication the handbrake was being lifted twice, and then I shut off the car. For example, I'm just saying example because each system has a different kind of sequence it might need it. So I tell the car this is the sequence, and then next time I remote started it, it knows that it's not on the gear, because the whole thing on the manual is there is a risk if the car in the gear and someone remote starting it, there will be a jump on the car, and that's the risk. So to avoid this risk, the car need to know that you set the car already on a safe position. So next time you remote started it, it's safe to do that. In my case, nobody drive the car but me, and I never use the gear one or hook on the gear leave on. So for example, I know in Europe that's a standard, you should not leave a manual car without keeping it on the first gear or on a different gear. Where I live, this is not a must do thing. So I don't have this regulation, and I only drive my car myself, and I never leave it on gear. So what I did is a really basic thing. I just bypass the clutch. So I did it not only because of the remote system, I did it since I bought the car. This is not my first car, I did all my manual cars. So I just tell even the original computer that, hey, the clutch is always depressed. It might be a thing in the modern cars. I saw that depressing a clutch is giving a feedback to the engine to lower the RPM or something like that. In my car, I don't have this issue at all. So the indication of the clutch is only not to allow the car to start. So I just took the plug from the clutch, which is down there. At the top of the clutch, there is two plugs. One plug is telling the car that the clutch is completely released, and the other plug is to tell, it's actually switch plug, is to tell the car that the clutch is completely pressed in. So what I did is using a fuse, a very small fuse, the same one you can use in the car. I just plugged it in, it's completely isolated, and just put the plug aside. So now the car always have the information that the clutch is pressed. It doesn't have the information that it's being released. So even I start my car without pressing the clutch. And the same thing is the next step for the remote start. When I did that, I set my remote start as an automatic function. Hey, my car is not manual, just start. You don't need a sequence, you don't need anything. Again, this is based on your country regulations, based on how you need to do these kind of things in your country. So please follow the regulations and do the right thing. So I set my module as hey guy, you are on automatic, and then that's it, the car starts. In the beginning, I talked about a few things related to the differences between the Magic Car and the ComboStar. One of them is very important feedback. So when I give the order in the remote give me feedback that the car has started. Now this feedback the car needed, that my remote system function needed. If you buy the basic systems, you will not need that. The remote system will not need a feedback. It will give an order. If the car started, it's okay. If not, the remote system doesn't care about it. The one I have, it actually care. It need a feedback. Tell me, is the engine started or not? And what ComboStar did, they added a function on the module to have a wire from, you can do it from the alternator, you can do it from the coils. I can't remember what other functions you can use, but yeah, this will give back a voltage to the module, and then once there is this voltage at certain volt, the module will know, okay, yeah, everything is fine, the engine has started. So this is a feedback was a must to have. Now the module I had, it did not understand the feedback from my car, because my car was modern to its function. So actually I fabricated a PC board. It's actually a very basic PC board. When there is a feedback from the car, it's just basic voltage is coming from the alternator. It will give a signal. That signal is actually matching the remote start, and it works. So I had an additional module. So you might not need to do that. If you had to, just contact me and then I will give you this instruction, because it's something special, not something standard. Yeah, what else do we have? Now, again, talking about multiple functions. For example, in my remote system, I have the function, you can see it right here, to open the trunk. So if I give this double click, then it opens the trunk. If I give it 3 times click, or I give the function here, you can see it's F. Now this F is also additional function. So I can connect the F, for example, to my air condition. So when I double click on the F, for example, or single click, hey, start on the air condition. If someone's doing different installation for a convertible car, of course my car is convertible, but mine need trigger from a key, and also it need latch release. So if you don't have this latch release, some cars they just have a trigger from a key and it disengage the latch automatically by itself. So if you have this, then you can give this function order, and then the car will open the top if you like, or open the windows, for example. You can do that, whatever you like. You can have this multiple things based on the functions feature on the remote system. But overall, this is the whole story of the remote start thing. Let's see if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have anything, please send it to me. We can chat in my channel or in my social media, on Instagram or whatsoever. Feel free, don't worry. If there is something I can help you with, I will do my best for you. So all the best. Hopefully you can make it work. Goodbye.